Hello and welcome back to another exciting week on the B word. With so much going on, it can be difficult for me to narrow down a single topic for a week. Well, okay, sometimes it is easy, but other times not so much. My approach to this week's episode is a little different than most of the previous ones because, well, this week right here, I want to talk about a word that, honestly, in recent years has gained popularity and almost its own distinction. That word I'm talking about right now is BIPOC. Now, hold on before we go too far into this discussion. You know how we do. Let go. Welcome back to the world's only beta-based podcast, boldly exploring the complexities of the human experience through the scope of a B lens, so to speak. I am your host, B. Alexander. You know what? And that's enough about me. So let's go ahead and jump into a fairly controversial word or acronym, really. And yes, it really is an acronym, not like my acronym, like the one I created for Black, boldly living authentically, creatively as kin. But this is an actual widely accepted term, which is BIPOC, which really means Black, Indigenous, people of color. Now, you already know how I feel about Black and Blackness, but this phrase, acronym, may not be fostering the political power that it was likely intended for. Oh, so hold on. So you don't think that acronyms such as POC, MOC, WOC, and more aren't a part of a political agenda? Okay. Well, you know what? I need you guys to come on over here. Just step right on over here and just have a seat. Right? A little over to the left. Yeah, right there. Go ahead and have a seat because I want to show you something. In 1977, the term WOC, or Women of Color, was coined at the National Women's Conference in Houston. See, according to Loretta Ross, founder of Sister Song Women of Color Reproductive Justice Collective, the phrase was coined as a way to build solidarity among the marginalized minority women's groups. You heard that. So really what it was that there was a creation of a sort of Black women's agenda. But as the conference approached and more marginalized communities wanted to make sure that their voices were heard, the name for that part of the agenda was then changed to Women of Color. Dope, right? Okay. Like I was just saying, like this phrase was coined as a way to build solidarity among the marginalized minority women's groups. This was a commitment to collaboration, a term made by a group of people to define those people with an overarching goal of creating change for those communities. See, I bet now you're over there thinking, okay, B, I see you dropping knowledge. And have you come to expect anything less? Seriously, if you did, why did you come here? Come on now. Over the years, phrases have been developed for some of the same reasons. People of color is a term that was created to empower communities of Black and brown folks. Matter of fact, it was coined by none other than the Black Panther Party and the Brown Berets, again, to unify communities. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you breaking news. Hello, folks. I apologize for interrupting this episode of the B word, but right now there's a battle going down to distinguish who said it first. Wait, I'm getting something. It appears that the term person of color actually originated in the 1700s. No, make that the late 1700s. Well, it was practically the 1800s by then. Yes. Okay. So let's get this straight. The facts are unfolding right before us, folks. So bear with it. We want to clear up the situation that is rapidly unfolding. According to the Oxford Dictionary, who just chimed in, they are stating that the term first appeared in 1796 to define a person of mixed heritage. And in case you didn't guess it, it is mixed heritage as in European and African. Please stay tuned. Hello? What just happened? Hello? Is this thing on? Okay, what was I saying? That's right. As I was saying, for years, communities of people created terminology to help them distinguish their identity and to build a unified community to address their marginalization, the discrepancies, and more. Think about it. The same things can be said about the Libicura community. I mean, if you could say BIPOC, we could definitely say Libicura, right? Libicura. Just pronounce it Libicura. You got it. You'll figure it out. But BIPOC is a word that crept up actually in 2013. Apparently, it happened somewhere on Twitter. And since I can't read the New York Times because apparently they stay hating, you know what? I guess it's really just because they haven't heard my budgeting podcast. They would know what was up. They might let me read it if they did. Anyways, it seems that the term crept up during the larger conversations around Black Lives Matter and the movement that quickly followed. I don't know who posted it first, but I think that what is happening with the term like BIPOC, which, let's be real, is the equivalent of saying PCH highway. The H in PCH is highway. It's like saying highway. Pacific Coast Highway. That doesn't make sense. Come on. Okay. Anyway, Black people and Indigenous people are still within the umbrella of the term like people of color or POC color, right? I'm just kidding. It's just POC. While the term was used more widely to build solidarity among people of color, organizations such as the BIPOC Project, who outlined their intentions as focused on the Black and Indigenous communities. Although POC is still mentioned as part of their focus, it's sort of like an afterthought behind the Black and Indigenous communities. I get that they want to, stop the erasure of Indigenous identities as well as the Black communities, which still may explain why some people do not identify with this term. Perhaps because the term does, in somewhat, continue to create a divide among the individual races who were not named categorically by the term. Black, Indigenous, Asian, Pacific Islander, Latinx, or from here on, we can just call the entire grouping BIAPIL. Maybe not that. Maybe, how about Bialip? Bialip? Does that roll? Does that kind of roll off the tongue? No. How about Blipai? Well, we'll figure it out. Because I say all this to say that sometimes, even with the best intentions, our decisions on creating and making space for each other can get lost in translation. The goal isn't for anyone to feel like their community doesn't matter. In fact, all of the communities matter. And if we could genuinely come together to work towards common goals, then we may finally see progress that benefits not just one or two communities, but all of the communities. Before I go, I want to be clear. I do not dislike the word BIPOC, or really what I originally thought the word meant, like being bisexual, but you were bicultural of two cultures, both of which were of color, like together. I mean, I really do think that that's probably how we should add it to the Urban Dictionary. Y'all go ahead and just say I coined that one though. I'm just kidding. I think that all of our community deserves to be heard and deserve an opportunity to exist as an entire experience and not just through the lens of another culture. As we continue to reshape the culture and society, I only ask that we reconsider the language that we use to make sure that inclusive language is truly inclusive. So, to my BIPOCs, POCs, MOCs, WOCs, OGs, ROGs, LGBTs, and more, I see you. I hear you. And I want y'all to remember all the cliche stands, the kind of they even print on money. Like United We Stand, divided we fall. Or a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. You know what? I think I have one better. But I will leave you with this quote by Baha'u'llah. So powerful is the light of unity that it can illuminate the whole earth. Think on it. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this week's episode of B Word. I'm your host, B. Alexander. As always, I welcome you to connect with me on social media. Pretty much they all have the same tag at @IM_B Alexander. Or if you have a question or comment, you just feel like just sending a whole little email. That works perfectly fine as well. You're welcome to go ahead and hit that contact me button on my website at www.imbalexander.com. Until next week, I want you to be kind to yourself, be the master craft person of your universe, and continue being the best version of you. Peace.
What you hear?